Hello, welcome to a new video. Tonight I'm taking the Honda Navi out for a night ride, as should be apparent. It is a little bit after sunset, before it's completely dark. And I am going to the west end of Louisville, so I'm currently on Main Street. I think I'm approaching 15th. Oh. This will be kind of going through the Portland area. And I've gone for some night rides on other stuff, on one of the e-bikes that kind of went through this area. I don't think I've gone through at night on the Navi. I think I've gone through at sunset before it was completely dark before, back last year at some point. But this is going through kind of the Portland area, which is a neighborhood in Louisville. It's been here for a while. And I guess I'll go down through some streets I haven't gone for all that many rides on before. And this is north. Oh, I can't turn there. That's gotta turn here. No, that's a dead end as well. Well, luckily there's not much traffic. I was trying to get to the road that'll take me to the Northwestern Parkway. So yeah, I'm in the kind of Portland neighborhood, Louisville, Kentucky. I guess I'll turn up here. I believe this is 22nd Street. And I've gone, like I said, I've gone through here before on an e-bike, not this exact path, the general area. And I've gone through before in the daytime to sunset. Oh. You can never tell exactly what you're going to get or what you can expect when you go in some areas of town. Just for example, what was just going on in the second ago, there was a guy on a gas-powered scooter going the opposite direction of traffic on the sidewalk. And I'm using a different camera for this ride than I've used for some of the other ones. I'm using the Insta360 One R camera that has a 1-inch sensor. And I think I've recorded one video before on the Navi with this camera. And previously I just let the settings run on auto, but this time I actually went and manually set things up to hopefully get a little bit better results, so that things aren't quite as shaky or jittery as when you just let the auto settings roll. And this area all kind of runs along the Ohio River, because the river is not too far from here. Just a little bit over to the right. And the Honda Navi now has 868 miles on it just now. So it's racking up a little bit of mileage. But there's somebody's go-kart dune buggy thing over there. And it's a train going on the train tracks up here. Not sure if that's in camera or not, because well, it's pretty close to here. So on this stop sign, if you follow the path that's there and keep going over to the right, you'll go to Portland Wharf Park, which is directly to the right of me right now. Or the entrance of it is, and that is a small park that's down by the Ohio riverfront, and there's the overpass for the expressway, so there's a lot of stone pillars. They used to be heavily graffitied, but the last time I went through, they were cleaned up for the most part, so it's a little bit more cleaned up looking than it used to be. But you know, it's a park where I've gone through before and seen people having picnics or cookouts or something. I'm pretty sure that I've seen videos before as well, where when different groups of people go on group rides on dirt bikes and ATVs, that they'll go through there. It seems like a place that'll probably work pretty well as a meeting spot for that kind of stuff. But the park itself, there was a bike path that was supposed to go through there, because there's a path called the Louisville Loop, which to the right of me right now is part of it, where there's where there's a bike lane. But it's basically just, the city has interconnecting bike lanes that are supposed to go through most of the city. At some point, the goal is for them to all to connect. Right now, there's still sections that are broken up and there's no connection between them, but it used to go through Portland Wharf Park, and there are some paved paths back in the woods, but they're all so jacked up, I don't know that you can really use it. And I think it comes out to the Shawnee Golf Course. But right now, the detour is they have you come out here on those bike lanes on Northwestern Parkway, which just ended. So if somebody was on this street, you're supposed to share the lane with bikes. Now, how successfully anybody will actually adhere to that is your best guess, but yeah, but this is Northwestern Parkway at nighttime. Because the city has a number of streets, so there's Southern Parkway that's kind of over by Iroquois Park, Eastern Parkway, which goes through the Highlands and eventually intersects with 3rd Street, which isn't too far from Southern Parkway. And then there's Northwestern Parkway, and then eventually you can get to Southwestern Parkway. So I'm assuming that, you know, these were streets that used to be pretty happening in terms of, you know, a lot of historic, kind of nice looking homes through here. And homes that, you know, at one point would have probably been pretty sought after. I'm not sure what the market is in these areas today, but the Honda Navi is a nice bike to take out for a ride like this. It's not too noisy. Doesn't, you know, doesn't drink up gas. And part of that's just a byproduct of it having a relatively small displacement motor and not being all that fast or powerful. Because the top speed, depending on rider weight and the grade of the road you're on and how much wind you have coming in your face, you know, the top speed can be 50, a little bit over 50. If you have a really light rider, so somebody that's, you know, 120 pounds on flat ground with the wind at their back, could probably go more than that. And then, of course, if you make some different modifications, you can get more performance out of them. You know, changing out the exhaust and the air intake and some different aspects of it would probably result in performance improvements. So now I'm in Shawnee Park. It's actually quite dark through here. And I'm gonna go see, so if we go to the right here, this is where the boat launch ramp is, where you can launch a boat into the Ohio River. Oftentimes people launch boats here to go fishing or just recreation, whatever purpose. I know I came through here not too long ago and there was some type of hike, bike, and paddle thing where you go through on kayaks and hike and ride bikes. And there was a bunch of people here. So we'll see what all you can see from here. And then the length that this ramp goes down to the river obviously would vary based on how much rain there has been and what the water level's at. When it's a little bit drier, the ramp goes down further versus if it's been raining a lot. So this is the Ohio River. Across the river directly ahead where those towers are is in Indiana. So again, I'd be interested to see what all the is visible from the camera due to the to see if the low light settings I was using helped. And if you're watching this and you have a similar camera, the same camera, and you're curious what settings I am using, I have the ISO set to 2500 and the shutter speed set at 1/100. I'm using the Pro mode, so I can choose the aspect ratio or the lens, or whatever you want to call it, you know, wide, linear, ultra wide. I can choose that after the fact in the app and turn off or on the stabilization. And then usually if I'm shooting at the super high ISO level like that, the footage is pretty grainy. So something I had started doing is taking that footage and dropping it into DaVinci Resolve and running the noise reduction feature, which reduces grain in videos shot with kind of a high ISO level. And that seems to clean it up and make it look a lot nicer. The only downside is just the amount of processing time it takes for that to complete. There's a different video I was working on recently where I did that. It was like, you know, a 17-minute video. Took about 4 to 5 hours to export on the computer. So I guess I'll turn the brights on. So that is a downside to doing that. If you have a beefier computer, because I have a M1 MacBook Air. So if you have something a little bit newer, a little bit beefier, might have better results. That's what I was getting out of the M1 MacBook, but because the problem, you know, anything that you can theoretically use as an action camera is not going to have great performance in low light environments. So it's not that you're ever going to get really good low light footage. It's more of just making it less bad. This is going through Shawnee Park at nighttime. This is a Sunday, so it may not be as busy as it would be on a Friday or Saturday. There's no specific events going on this weekend in this area. And alright, now I'm turning left onto Broadway to go back home. So I know I've done a different video where I went down Broadway in the opposite direction. This time I'll be going on Broadway. I'm just passing, that's Southwestern Parkway. So I'll be going down Broadway. And as you can see, I'm wearing a jacket and some gloves. It's not cold per se, but I think at this point it's probably in the 60s or something. Low 70s, high 60s. It has a little bit of breeze going. It can be a little bit chilly if you're just wearing a t-shirt or something. And I typically like to wear more than just a t-shirt when riding this thing. You know, in case there was some type of crash, even though I'm not wearing the heavy duty jacket, all the armor stuff in it. This is better than nothing. Not that it would help significantly more than, you know, just a t-shirt, but yeah, so I'm on Broadway, just passing 39th Street. And there's bike lanes through the road here as well, over on the right of me. But the problem that pretty much the bike lanes in any part of the city have is that they will go for a stretch and then just end. So you'll be cruising along on your bike, and then the bike lane just ends and drops you out on the middle of a road where the speed limit's 35 or 45 miles per hour. And you know, the bike lane just ended, and now there will be no bike lane. And I guess most people probably just ride on the sidewalk, but the one thing that I think is a little bit of a weak spot on the Navi is that the display instrumentation, so the speedometer and all this stuff right here, it's pretty dim. It's not very bright, and part of it is the bike's electrical system is alternating current. So when you're sitting at a standstill, the lights, you know, flicker with how the engine is running as it's all, you know, as it's sitting there. So the light on the instrumentation does that as well, and it's just a light bulb on the speedometer. It's not actually lit from beneath, so it's not super bright. I've seen videos where people replace the bulb that's in there with an LED bulb that's brighter, and it's white instead of yellowish. And it works better, but it's still, you need to have done the conversion from alternating current to direct current for that be a constant light and not kind of flicker a little bit. So it's annoying that it's not a little bit brighter. If you only ride during the daytime hours, not a big deal. And when you're riding at night, I mean, it's still bright enough to read. It's still bright enough to tell what your speed is. It would just be nice if it was a little bit brighter. A little bit more visible. And the headlight could be a little bit brighter and be LED. But I mean, when you get the bike in the price range this one sells for, there will be some compromises. And the other thing that you encounter with this bike, and I'm sure the other Honda Mini Motos as well, is they are smaller bikes and they do look smaller, but they still look like a traditional motorcycles more so than mopeds or small 50cc scooters or something. So people oftentimes expect you to be faster than you actually are. But with 110 cc's, I mean, or 109 or whatever it is, it's not going to be super fast. So all that really results in is just people kind of expecting you to speed up and get past them or something like that, which you're not really capable of doing. So this is a fun ride around town bike, but not what I would consider a long road trip bike. I mean, you could do it, you just would have to limit yourself to roads that don't have super high speed limits and not get on any expressways. Because I'm not sure if it's the same everywhere, but when I bought this one, you had to sign a thing saying you would not take it on the highway. And beyond that, it's not fast enough to be safe on the highway. If you're only capable of doing 50 miles per hour, and you're on a highway where the speed limit's 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, and everybody goes over the speed limit to begin with, you're going to be going far too slow to be safe. But yeah, so this was taking the Honda Navi. Started out kind of on Main Street, then went down to Northwestern Parkway, through Shawnee Park, and then I came back down to Broadway, kind of heading back towards the main stretch of downtown Louisville and the Highlands. But yeah, that'll wrap up this ride. Until next time.